Hey, I'm Randy, and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like audio equipment should cost more than replacing your air conditioner or your heater so that you can be comfortable during all the seasons. And these don't. Saturday amp shootout. Yeah, no speakers today, but if you don't have an amp, you can't have speakers. So, we're talking about the Iotavx SA3 and the PA3, the Emotiva TA100 and the A300. It's hard to remember all the letters and numbers. So grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and let's talk about the Iotavx PA3, Iotavx SA3, the Emotiva TA100, and the Emotiva Base X A300. Whew. Mouth full. All right. 400 pounds, $400. 300 pounds, $400. Okay. Similar in price. Similar in functionality. They both have phono amps. They both have DACs. They both have remote controls. Although the Iotavx remote control is quite a bit better than the Emotivas. It's got regular batteries that you can find under your couch or probably the driver's seat of your car. The Emotiva has this little remote. It doesn't have regular batteries. It's very difficult to get the thing back on. This is what this one sounds like when I tap it. That's not fair. Here, let's do this one. Okay, so you can tell a big difference by what kind of sound it makes. I will say this though, okay? Even though this remote feels kind of chintzy, or maybe a lot chintzy, it's still fully functional, and I use it all the time. All right, so don't let a remote be the deciding factor in what amp you get. All right, this one's good. That one's not as good. Guess what? They both work. They do what they're supposed to do. All right, so let's run through the sonic differences. Okay. In a nutshell, the Iotavx is more trebly, maybe more detailed in the top end. I tested these both with the ELAC Unify UB5, the first generation. Notoriously hard to drive, 85 dB, 4 ohm nominal, but it dips down to 3 ohm. It's difficult to drive. You need a high current amp to do it. This one is 45 at 8. This one is 50 at 8. I'm sorry. Iotavx SA3. I always want to say PA3, but this is the SA3. 45 into 8. 90 into 4. Whew. Okay. Emotiva TA100. 50 watts into 8. 90 watts into 4. Pretty similar, huh? I'll tell you this. They both drove the Emotiva ELAC Unify UB5 first gen very well. When I hooked up the amps, it was a little bit better. Okay, not significantly. So if you think 50 or 90 watts is not enough for you, rest assured it is. You can always save up later and buy the associated power amp, or really any power amp that you so choose. Okay, let's talk about the inputs. The Iotavx SA3 has 5 analog inputs in addition to a phono amp input. The Emotiva has 2 additional analogs along with their phono preamp. The Emotiva has a switchable phono preamp, moving magnet or moving coil. Okay, so depending upon what type of turntable you have, this has more options for you. I would argue though that if you have the moving coil, you maybe already have a a phono stage, phono preamp. Okay. The Iotavx has one sub out. The Emotiva TA100 has two subs out. Two sub outs. I guess whatever. The internal DAC on the Emotiva TA100 has a coaxial input, a optical input, and yeah, there are digital obviously, and a full-size USB. The Iotavx SA3. I can't get PA3. I always want to say PA3. SA3 has coaxial in, optical in. So if your computer doesn't have an optical out, you're going to have to probably buy one of those converters. Okay? Let's see. What else? That's about it. They both have, you know, trigger outs, trigger ins. I think the Emotiva sounds more neutral. I find that the Iotavx was little bit trebly, but they have tone controls. They both have tone controls, so you can kind of adjust that to your taste. I'm not saying that Iotavx didn't sound good in the bass and the mids. It did. Just a little bit livelier in the top end. Soundstage, you know, it's all the same. To me, that's what I heard. I tested it. All my test tracks, Killing Strangers, Wherever I May Roam, Imaging on More Human Than Human by Rob Zombie. Okay, they're all good. They're both great. Okay, both great. So what we're going to do now, we're going to flip these around. We're going to go in as much detail as the cheap audio man can muster about how you hook them up to the amp, because they're a little bit different. And I'll show you all the inputs and outputs and stuff. All right. So let's talk about the Iota SA3 and PA3. How to hook it up and all the inputs and stuff. All right, with the Iota, with the Iota VX. So here's all your analog inputs. Here is your, you can't even see it. Hold on. There we go. I'm not going to touch it either. This is the second time I've done the video because I had both amps running. And apparently that's not a real good idea to have a microphone real close to a whole bunch of voltage. Go figure. All right, so here is, well, let's do it this way, Randall. Here is the ground for the phono input, analog ins for the phono, subwoofer. Let's find something to point. Let's find a pointer. Let's see. Stay with me. Stay with me. All right, here we go. Here's your sub out. All right, I'm gonna switch this around. I feel like I'm trying to get the pop the lock on my car with a, I don't know, a coat hanger. Speakers, obviously. Here are your digitals, coax, optical. Here's your triggers out. You have a dimmer line out. Not sure, pretty whatever. RS232 serial port, and then you have your unit voltage changers, depending upon where you're at in the world. Okay, so let's show you how to connect the power amp. All right, so if you can see here, there's a switch. Okay, that switch is either in stereo or it's mono / bridged. Okay, so the PA3 down here is the exact same amplifier that's in the SA3. That's right, SA3. I finally got it right. Okay, so the way that you get more power out of this is you have to bridge the amp. It's a little different for bridging the amp than some that I've seen, especially in car audio. All right, so to bridge it, you hook your RCAs up. Oh, these are really tough. Hook your RCAs up, RCA outs up, excuse me, preamp. And then you just plug it in down here. All right. And then you got another pre-out if you want to go into something else. All right. So let's move that over. See if we can. Anyway, you get the idea. All right. You plug it in there. We're gonna move this out. All right. So to bridge it, obviously you have to put it in mono bridged. Okay. It's really important. And then you connect the speaker outs on the outer ones, and it says mono right down here. So that's where you want to do. All right. And then you do the same thing down here. All right. And then what happens is you basically have you have your integrated running one channel. You have your PA3 running the other channel. Okay. And that takes the power, it doubles it. Okay. So now you have 90 watts into 8 ohms, and you have 180 watts going into 4 ohms. Okay. So I think we covered it all. Yep. Looks good. That's how you hook it up. Sean at Zero Fidelity also has a really good video on how to hook this guy up, or girl, or thing up. Okay. Let's talk about the Emotiva and take a look at the back and look at its inputs and stuff and outputs. All right, so here's the back of the Emotiva. I actually pulled the integrated further back because the power amp is actually a fair bit deeper. Okay, so on the back here you have your phono ground. This phono ground's made out of metal. It's frankly better than the one that's on the Iotavx. It also has a moving coil or moving magnet phono input, whereas the Iotavx only has a moving magnet. Okay, so here you have actually 2 sub outs. Okay, and it looks like an RCA out, but what it really is 2 summed subwoofer outs. Okay, so you can hook up 2 subs with this. All right, then you have your main pre-outs. Okay, FM tuner antenna connection. Here's your DAC area. Okay, so you have a coax, an optical, and a full-size USB. All right, and then you have your Bluetooth USB input. Neither one of these have Bluetooth out of the box. Okay, so they don't have a Bluetooth receiver. But you know what? You can get better receivers out there for, I don't know, 50, 60 bucks. You can get a really nice LDAC Bluetooth receiver. The Topping BC3, very good. You have 1 trigger out, speaker connections, obviously. Okay, this one has internal sensing for the voltage, so you don't have to flip a switch on the back. Okay, down here on the power amp, you have more triggers. You have your status LEDs. You can turn them on or turn them off if you don't like the blue light. And then here's your RCA inputs. So this one is more traditional. Here, I want to make sure I get the colors right. All right, so you just go ahead and you hook these up to the RCA outs. Bum, bum, bum. The white is left. Oh my gosh, this cord is so thick. Oh my gosh. Don't use this cord for a DAC, a smaller DAC, because it just shoves it right off the table. And then you have your traditional speaker outs down here. Thing about this one is you're not using any of the integrated amp to drive any of your speakers. It's all being done through here. Okay, this power amp is 150 into 8 and 300 watts into 4. Okay, so it's nearly double, and it is double the power for sure into 4 ohms. Okay, so 180, and so it's more powerful than the Iotavx stack. Okay, you have a lot of power with the Iotavx. So I mean, yes, power is important. You're gonna have plenty with the Iotavx though. Okay, Anyway, let's talk about my final thoughts, okay? I was going to go into the tone controls, but I have to turn them on and then I get awful feedback. The bottom line is both tone controls can be actuated or operated on the front of both the amps. It's a little bit tricky on both. Okay, for the Iotavx, it's a long press on the volume. It opens up the treble, bass, and balance. On the Emotiva, you press the volume once, and then there's two buttons on the front, and you have to mess with those. They're both a little bit wonky, but I will say if you do it 10 times, you're going to know how to do it. So that is what it is. And I think, anyway, I'll say that for the final slide. Let's talk about my final thoughts. So, final thoughts on these are, they're both winners, okay? They do have some different sonic characteristics. The Iota, as I said before, is a bit more trebly. Okay, they're both great. If pure power is what you need, then the Emotiva is probably the way to go. If you need multiple, if you have a moving coil, I think that's how you say it, cartridge on your cassette, I don't know, cartridge, it's getting late, then you got to get the TA100. I would argue, though, that if you have that moving coil cartridge, cassette, no, it's cassette. Yeah, I don't know. I'm tired. If you have that, then you're probably going to have maybe an outboard phono amp, but you don't need to with this one. That's the point. These are both great values. At $400 for the integrateds, or 400 pounds, you're getting the best value out there. You're getting a DAC, you're getting a phono stage, you're getting great quality. Both of these are direct consumer brands. I feel, in my experience of dealing with what I've dealt with, that you get more for your money when you're buying a direct-to-consumer brand. It's great because the Iotavx is more accessible to people in Europe. The Emotiva, you can get it in Europe and other places, but if with shipping and with import duties and things like that, the value prop can be greatly reduced. I don't know about the global distribution for either of these, but I do know that sometimes folks overseas have a harder time getting the Emotiva. Okay? Both winners, both awesome, more trebly, fine. You know what? If power is what you need, you can buy the Iotavx and you can add something more powerful and hook it right up. Okay, that's the great thing about these, is you're not locked into just the integrated. Both have pre-outs, both have associated amps. You can add more amp or a different amp as you see fit. They're awesome. I know this was not really a which is better kind of video. I think they're both better depending upon what you want, what you like. With a really warm speaker, the Iotavx is going to bring that speaker up. You're going to have a very balanced situation. I feel like the Emotiva is more neutral. So I don't think the Emotiva is going to color the speaker as much as the Iotavx. If you have a really detailed, lively speaker on the top end, this might be a bit much for that speaker. However, tone controls, okay? And I know tone controls only affect, one frequency and then, affects the surrounding frequencies to a lesser extent. I think it sounded great. With brighter speakers or more lively speakers, I just brought down the treble a bit. Okay, so I appreciate you watching. If you're new here, subscribe. We like to have fun. We like to tell a few jokes. One of the comments I got was that I'm not funny. Probably not. We have a Twitter, @CheapAudioMan. We have Facebook, The Cheap Audio Man. We have a Patreon. If you contribute, you want to support the channel, we have weekly Zooms. I also get on Zooms with people individually. If you just want to chat, hang out, talk about audio, you want to try Amazon Music HD for free. There's a link in the description. Click on the link, scroll down to the bottom of the page, click Try HD. And then you get 3 months for free, and I get a couple of dollars. I do have a affiliate link, which means I get a commission if you click on it and then you buy something from Emotiva. I do not have an affiliate link for Iotavx, but I'm going to go ahead and link their company anyway. So if you want to buy it, you can just click on it. Any of the links in there, with the exception of the Iotavx, I do have affiliates with, so I will get a little bit of a commission off of that. Okay, so I think that does it for this Saturday amp shootout, which really wasn't a shootout. It's just kind of comparing the two. Appreciate you coming in and watching. Go check out some of the other videos if you like. And I'm Randy, and I'm the Cheap Audio Man.